Several 9/11 survivors and family members of victims gathered today to protest the LIV Golf Tournament series happening.
The Masters 2023 has made a shocking announcement by accepting LIV golfers to participate in this year's Masters tournament at Augusta National. This has caused a lot of tension, leading to many Americans, particularly the victim families of the 9/11 attack, calling for their heads. The victims' families are furious that LIV Golf is funded by Saudi Arabia because they claim that the kingdom is directly linked to the 9/11 attack that took place over 2 decades ago. The FBI has recently revealed the terrifying details regarding the Saudis' role in the attack, and what this means for the golf world will be shocking for you. When Augusta announced that it would not toe the PGA line of banning the rebels, instead inviting eligible LIV golfers to the 2023 Masters, LIV Golf counted it as a plus. But little did they know that what was coming would only generate more anger and frustration among the Americans, calling it sports washing. Well, Augusta has said it's only doing what is right, sending out invites to the boys in LIV Golf. But what do the boys have to say for themselves? Good question. So I painstakingly dug through the internet searching for leads as to why LIV Golf organization has a fault in all of these and how Augusta's decision affects the golf world going forward. And I can confidently say that what I discovered will leave you shocked to the marrow. So stick around till the end as I unravel the details. Taking a cue from Newton's third law of motion, for every action there is an equal or opposite reaction. So when Masters chairman Fred Ridley announced that Augusta would open its doors to LIV's top players who are eligible to play in the 2023 Masters, provided they meet the qualifying criteria, he should have known that his actions would trigger an opposite reaction. Not just any kind, but this type of reaction.
Homosexuals for how they treat women, and yet we're letting the kingdom come here and sports wash.
Now, the families of the victims are calling on the government and LIV players to hold the Saudi government accountable for all their atrocities, including the 9/11 attack, which the FBI claims 12 Saudi government agency officials co-masterminded. The killing of journalist Jamal Khashoggi, an allegation which the kingdom denied, what they did in Yemen, and how they treat women and homosexuals. But to get the full story of how things degenerated to this point, we'll have to circle back a little bit. You see, with many players switching allegiances to LIV Golf, the American circuit immediately swung into action, placing an indefinite ban on the rebels and putting in place other punitive measures to deter others from doing the same. So when Augusta came out with its shocking decision, the Saudi-backed series saw it as a significant victory. It's only understandable because the Saudi-backed circuit has lured away some of the PGA Tour's finest players with huge sums of money and mouth-watering contracts, leading to a simmering feud within the sport. In a strongly worded statement released by Masters chairman Fred Ridley, he expressed disappointment in the state of professional golf and also a desire to ensure the field at the Masters includes all the best players in the world, irrespective of whatever league or tour they currently play on, as long as they meet the requirements. The purpose of the Masters tournament since its inception in 1934 has been to benefit the game. Each April, the Masters assembles the world's finest and leading players to compete for a place in history at the Augusta National Golf Club. It not only provides a stage for fans to experience amazing and dramatic moments of competition at the highest level, but it also promotes the sport both home and abroad. While taking a jab at both tours for letting the feud get in the way to benefit from the game, Ridley cited legends like Ben Hogan, Arnold Palmer, Tom Watson, Jack Nicklaus, and others who inspired some to follow in their footsteps, play, and enjoy the game. Fred also lamented the divisions within the game presently. While obviously referring to the frequent name-calling and back and forth between LIV Golf and the PGA Tour, he said the recent actions which have incredibly polarized men's professional golf had diminished its meaningful legacies and the virtue of those who built it. Speaking about name-calling between both tours, the PGA Tour has continuously slammed LIV Golf while accusing its sponsors of sports washing, a term which means to use sports to whitewash a controversy. After several weeks in the headlines, the story behind the Saudi-sponsored series may not need retelling. Those millions of dollars, those many, many head-turning millions actually come from the Saudi Public Investment Fund, PIF, which is under the chairmanship of Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, the state's authoritarian ruler, alleged to have sponsored the assassination of journalist Jamal Khashoggi. Meanwhile, the kingdom's alleged involvement in the 9/11 attacks has also been stated by many. The connections between the Saudis and the 9/11 terrorist attacks are well documented. According to an FBI report declassified by the U.S. in 2021, 15 of the 19 hijackers during the attacks were Saudi citizens. And this was reiterated by the 9/11 Families United, a community of more than 10,000 people comprising family members of those murdered in the attacks and those injured or sickened.
That 12 Saudi government agency officials aided the hijackers.
To some, Augusta National's decision to invite the rebels who met the requirement for the 2023 Masters to play felt obvious. However, in the days that followed, it became clear that the decision didn't sit well with everyone. The September 11th survivors group, 9/11 Families United, which has protested LIV Golf from its inception, is terribly displeased with Augusta National's decision. The group released a statement in December last year after Augusta National made its decision public. Part of the statement read, "The only reason Saudi Arabia launched LIV Golf was to make the world forget what they did and who they really are, including their role in the September 11 terrorist attack." However, this is not the first time the group has spoken out against LIV Golf. Ahead of LIV's first tournament in London, the group sent a letter to Phil Mickelson, Dustin Johnson, Patrick Reed, and other LIV golfers criticizing their decisions. This prompted Lefty's response during a press conference at the US Open. "I would say to everyone that has lost friends and loved ones on 9/11 that I have deep empathy for them," Phil said.
Has lost loved ones, lost friends in 9/11, that I have deep empathy for them.
The Big Phil was among the biggest names who signed with the rival league, and chief among them, who has had to respond to harsh questions about his involvement. However, another man that has been in the eye of the storm is none other than Greg Norman, the rival league's CEO. Norman has faced accusations of promoting Saudi propaganda, but the Shark seems to have a pretty good defense. Norman said he doesn't know why the spotlight is on male golf, whereas the LPGA Tour is sponsored by Aramco, a Saudi Arabian oil company, and not a word is being said about them.
LPGA Tour is sponsored by Aramco.
The Australian golfer also held a meeting with Washington lawmakers where he sought to garner support for the Breakaway Tour in its bitter dispute with the PGA Tour. Apparently, he went to the U.S. Capitol to seek allies for his series and condemn what he called the PGA Tour's anti-competitive efforts to stifle LIV. But what he got was a rough congressional welcome. Tim Burchett, a Tennessee Republican congressman, left a meeting of the Republican Study Committee at which dozens of his party colleagues had met with the 67-year-old, expressing dismay that Congress members were discussing a golf league sponsored by Saudi funds. He also called Greg's LIV pitch propaganda. He cited the murder of Jamal Khashoggi, the September 11 attacks on the United States, and the kingdom's treatment of women and gay people, which he called just unacceptable. While Burchett is a conservative Republican, the Breakaway Tour has also come under fire from the left. Democratic Senator from Illinois, Dick Durbin, tweeted that LIV Tour was using a golf glove to cover a blood-stained hand of the Saudi Arabian government. In a second tweet, he added that money shouldn't be allowed to cover up the dismemberment and murder of a journalist and the imprisonment and harassment of other activists. Nice one, Durbin, but that should be directed at the LIV golfers, and it's not like that hasn't been said before. After all, to 9/11 justice, LIV golf is death golf.
LIV golf, to us, it's death golf.
Another 9/11 family, Sean, who lost his father, called for the cancellation of LIV golf and asked Americans to spend time with their families instead of attending the league's tournament. He stated that he would have loved to play a round of golf with his dad if the Saudis had never murdered him.
Play a round of golf with my father, but I can't because of what the Saudis did, murdering him on 9/11.
In his last words, Sean threw a very tough question at LIV golfers, one of which a lot of them have significantly avoided to answer.
picture your father got killed by the Saudis on 9/11, would you be taking their blood money?
But what do you think about LIV Golf and Augusta's decision to let them participate in the 2023 Masters? For more intriguing golf content from us, click on one of these videos.